He really had to wrestle with the idea that he's in an industry where not only can that happen, but it had happened to him.
Artists be too scared to stand up for something. They scared to lose their fucking house. Or they scared to lose their record deal. I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal.
That Clive Davis and Peter Edge wanted to do was say, okay, look, we don't want to date you. I'm like, I'm still young. What are you talking about? But we don't want to talk about all that stuff in Sugar Hill. So they kind of gag ordered me not to talk about.
D'Angelo's death has shaken the music world to its core. But when you really dig into his story, things start looking way darker than anyone expected. Kanye West's been dropping hints for years, and now it all feels connected.
D'Angelo's manager would go behind his back and work out a secret deal with Clive Davis. The manager, knowing the history between Angie and D'Angelo, he didn't want them on the same label. So he made a deal with Clive saying that if D'Angelo comes, she needs to leave.
See, D'Angelo didn't just fade away for no reason. His whole career was taken apart right in front of our eyes. Between Voodoo and Black Messiah, that man vanished for over a decade, battling demons, personal pain, and a whole lot of shady industry pressure. People close to him say the game was rigged against him from the start. The label politics, the manipulation, the control, all of it.
At the end of the day, after 40-something years in the business, I'm like, well, why? Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties.
And according to Kanye, these weren't just random setbacks. He's talked about rituals, humiliation tactics, and silent sacrifices that keep artists in check.
Some people do want to put you on that pedestal, like you are the spokesperson for all Black people. They're depending on you, and they're counting on you. It's enough just navigating and coping through the change in your life that happens when you become a celebrity or somebody that is, quote unquote famous. Just that within itself is a huge paradigm shift.
Now, no one's saying D'Angelo was literally sacrificed, but insiders swear the industry turned on him when he refused to play along. That's when things got real messy, especially after his former partner, Angie Stone, started speaking out, calling out names and hinting she knew too much. Just weeks later, she lost her life in that strange car crash earlier this year. Coincidence? Some don't think so. D'Angelo first blew up in the mid-90s with Brown Sugar, flipping R&B on its head. He brought that raw 70s soul energy into a new era, smooth, passionate, and real. He wasn't just another singer, he was the sound of something spiritual. And maybe that's exactly what made him a target.
Of course, D'Angelo and I were very good friends, but I need for you to know that as wonderful as that friendship has been, it came with a lot of challenges. And I'll tell you the nature of the industry based on a secret that I recently found out from someone who is credible, that let me in on some things that I didn't know even up until lately. And I have to tell you, it was shocking just to find out. But in any event, I will share them with you and let you know the devil don't play fair. No, this is not Angie Stone's life story, but what it is.
Then came Voodoo in 2000, and that's when everything exploded. The world couldn't get enough of D'Angelo. His sound, his voice, his energy, it was pure magic. What made it even crazier is that he did it all on his own terms. He played most of the instruments himself, crafted every melody with soul, and refused to chase cheap hits just to please the charts. That's real artistry.
After 40-something years in the business, I'm like, well, why? Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties, all my mechanicals. They've taken pretty much everything. They've stolen, but they have taken all the monies that were due to me. They have basically absorbed in that company. And even though there's several class action lawsuits, people that were working on my behalf never even registered the songs, all the songs that I've done. I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered. by the companies that I signed over to. People that were supposed to do their due diligence. So I'm truly a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time. Because if you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me, money that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made, supposedly. But there are key people.
But see, that same authenticity that made him legendary is also what put him in danger. The industry doesn't like rebels. They want control, puppets, people who'll smile for the cameras and do what they're told. They love the flash, the fake parties, the wild image, but they can't stand someone who actually wants to speak truth through music. And D'Angelo wasn't built for that fake life. He was spiritual, grounded, and driven by faith, not fame.
When I first heard your music, the first thing I said was, this nigga had been in a black church somewhere and been in a Pentecostal church somewhere.
That's right.
And so I was not at all surprised to find out when you hit that groove where you had come from. But just talk about that experience.
It totally informs everything that I do.
Mm-hmm.
When I go out on the stage, I bring that with me. It's the thing about everyone has their own way of reaching that place. But my way has always been that. Because I feel like when I come on the stage with that authority from that source, there's nothing that can touch that. And a lot of times before we go out on stage, pretty much every time, we pray. Me and the Vanguard, we pray. And before we start a prayer, I sing an old spiritual song from way back in the woods, you know.
You're singing this in your prayer circle?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we start off with a song and we get in the spirit, then we pray, then we go out there.
Put you on the spot.
That's when the pressure started building. Suddenly, he wasn't just an artist, he was a problem. Rumor has it, some of the biggest names in the game, including certain moguls who host those infamous industry parties, wanted him inside their private circle. But D'Angelo stood firm. He refused. He didn't want to sell his soul for success. Even Angie Stone, in one of her last interviews, said she learned some disturbing things years after their breakup, like how he was allegedly pushed to take part in things he couldn't stand behind. That's when it became clear. D'Angelo wasn't just fighting fame. He was fighting the whole system.
Women went crazy, wanting to touch and feel on him and pull at his stuff. They will pull his shirt so hard that it would choke him. So we decided we would put slits in the back of his t-shirts. So when they pull it, it'll just come off easily and not choke him to death.
Now, nobody really knows whether D'Angelo ever got dragged into that dark, twisted world, or if he managed to shut it down before they trapped him. But what we do know is that right around that time, everything started falling apart fast. The weight gain, the run-ins with the law, the substance issues, it was a full-blown breakdown in plain sight. But here's the thing, people saw the chaos, not the cause. They never realized how much pressure was crushing him behind closed doors. This wasn't just about personal demons, it was systemic.
Literally signing a contract and selling our souls. They got contracts out there that say, you can't say Jesus. When we was working on this album, people used to be coming over the studio just to say Jesus as loud as they wanted to. You can say Jesus in your studio.
Insiders claim that certain executives tried to lure him into setups, forcing him into situations that had nothing to do with music. You've heard the rumors about those exclusive celebrity parties, the kind hosted by big names like Diddy, where connections get made, but at a heavy price. Some say that's where the real game begins. And if you don't play, you get played? That's exactly what folks mean when they talk about industry sacrifices. They don't need to end your life to destroy you. They can strip away your peace, your image, your whole legacy. They humiliate you, isolate you, and erase your name from every headline until you disappear. Kanye's been screaming about this for years, calling out how artists who speak up get punished, mocked, or branded as crazy.
There's a part in a Rock Nation contract that says that people are not allowed to sing about Christ. Yeah. So I'll be wondering, I'll be like, yo, God, why? Why have you swung my sword? Yeah. Why? because you came in the game with Jesus Walsh. Like, why? There's a part.
D'Angelo came into the game as a musical revolutionary, bold, spiritual, unstoppable. But he walked out broken. Something clearly went down behind the curtain. Something that made him want nothing to do with that machine ever again. And when you add in what happened to Angie Stone after she started speaking out, the story turns downright chilling. Right when Angie Stone finally started dropping names, calling out the people who robbed her, disrespected her, and stole her work, tragedy hit. She died in that bizarre car crash that still doesn't sit right with a lot of folks. Angie had been speaking loudly in the months leading up to her death, taking direct shots at major industry players, even calling out Universal Music Group by name. She refused to be silenced. She was ready to tell it all, and then suddenly, she was gone. Just 7 months before D'Angelo passed, too close to be coincidence. When you start lining up D'Angelo's struggles with Angie's warnings and her sudden death, a dark pattern starts to emerge. This industry's got a way of chewing people up, especially black artists who refuse to bow down or play puppet. The moment you stand on truth, they start pulling strings, blacklisting you, or finding ways to break your spirit. D'Angelo, a man of faith, wanted his music to speak to his soul, but the system didn't want that. They wanted him half-naked on stage, chasing viral hits, selling fantasies, not spreading messages about God or real life. That's where the clash began. And remember what Kanye said, that artists are forced to sign contracts banning them from mentioning anything spiritual or uplifting. When people hear the word Illuminati in the music scene, they picture secret handshakes, wild rituals, and literal sacrifices. But the truth is, it's usually deeper than that. It's more like a coded way of describing the invisible power chain running everything behind the curtain. The executives, the managers, the contracts, they're the real gatekeepers deciding who shines and who gets silenced. They control what artists can say, how they dress, even what messages they're allowed to share with the world. And when you look at D'Angelo's story, it fits that system like a glove. Those invite-only parties, the hidden pressure, the contracts that demand full obedience, that's the real ritual right there. Once you say no, the punishment comes fast. Blacklists, humiliation, canceled deals, and the slow destruction of your image until people forget you ever existed. D'Angelo wasn't just some R&B star. He was a soldier of truth in a business built on illusion. He refused to bend, refused to fake it, and the price for that integrity was brutal. Years of silence, career sabotage, endless rumors, and the world calling him lost when in reality, he was fighting to stay free. When you mix that with Angie Stone's mysterious death and Kanye's public warnings about these so-called industry rituals, it paints a dark, undeniable picture. It was never just about literal sacrifices. It's the symbolic ones that break artists down piece by piece. The industry demands you give up your creative freedom, your peace of mind, your spirit. And if you don't bow down, they strip it all away. That's how the game works. But through all the pain, D'Angelo still carved out a legacy they could never erase. From Brown Sugar to Black Messiah, his music still hits deep and raw, timeless truth wrapped in soul. One fan on X said it perfectly. D'Angelo dropped Brown Sugar, then vanished for years, fighting battles nobody saw. He came back with Voodoo, then went silent again before Black Messiah. Through all that pain, he still created art that healed generations. That says it all. His story proves that beauty can rise out of struggle, that even when the world turns its back on you, your truth can still shine through. But his journey isn't just inspiring, it's a warning. The music world looks glamorous, but behind that shine, it's ruthless. You can be the most talented, spiritual, and pure-hearted artist, but if you don't play by their rules, they'll make you pay the price. Years of silence, public doubt, and whispered rumors, all to remind everyone what happens when you stand your ground. So what do you think? Was D'Angelo's downfall just bad luck, or part of something way bigger, a system built to crush anyone who refuses to fall in line? And with Angie Stone dying just months before him, does that really sound like coincidence to you? Drop your thoughts below, hit like, share this with someone who remembers real music, and make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.